So welcome everyone, welcome to yoga. I'm sorry we had to cancel some classes, but a wonderful combination of colds, which required isolation and testing to make sure they weren't COVID, and the moving into the building next door, into the retreat center. So I'm sorry about that, but I hope those of you who wanted to were able to get online onto the stored classes and practice. So we were looking at an alternation between flexion extension classes and standing poses. And we'll come back to that a little bit this class, but I might just add a bit of a few things to help us with winter, if you're wherever you are, if you're in a winter place. You're in a winter place. So let's just begin on our backs for a moment. Remember, don't line yourself up too much. Don't get it too perfect too quickly. Just let yourself come to the floor and let it be more about the sense of weight and the ground and the way your weight and the surfaces of your body talk to the surfaces of the ground. And just see where your attention is attracted to. Where do you go? Your legs can be straight or bent. Keep your arms a little bit wide. And when we delay correcting and aligning and getting it all into orthogonal order, when we delay that, we actually make space for something much more organic. And in my sense of things, more usable, more helpful, a little bit not so much towards an ideal. So less attention to arranging yourself and fixing, and more to sensing the weight and to sensing today, how am I on the ground? What's comfortable, what's uncomfortable? And if something felt weird and not 100% aligned, maybe just wait a bit and wobble a little, wobble the head or wobble the legs. So that you allow the way that we are with our weight to be more everywhere in you, and you disallow, you inhibit the way that we actually are watching ourselves and doing something a bit ideal, which is in our head or in our language or in our symbolic life, but it may have nothing to do with your body. Yeah, so we can let the head wobble. We can let the legs wobble. We can let the arms float up as the legs fall over, and the arms can fall. So if you've been coming to some of these classes, all these things that we've been doing, letting things lift and fall, letting things rock and wobble, letting your breath move you so that you notice the sense of weight more and more, letting the yawning, the breath, letting things be a little bit disordered and flowy and folly, and adding a sound. Lifting and dropping, rocking, wobbling, dropping, and then also being still, just noticing. And again, lifting and dropping. Yawning and sounding. Letting yourself be in your heaviness, in your container, in your containment. Heavy plus container equals deep, equals a sense of, oh, deep container, or deep content. And these side-to-side rockings that we eventually end up doing through the pelvis, these are so healing to the lower back, to the whole spine, but particularly to the way the sacrum and the lumbar struggle when we've been curved forward too much, sitting too much, not managing to get out for a walk. You can speed it up, letting the legs rock from side to side as I'm doing, a little faster, faster, faster. And you can add the arms, legs, arms, so that there is falling and rolling and breath. Don't hold your breath. Yeah. Yeah. Softer, faster, bigger, slower, harder. Yeah. And come back to just letting the legs rock from side to side. Let them really fall. That's it. Don't over-organize your feet. Let them really go. Let the spirally dynamic that results from the falling legs travel up your spine. Sounding, yawning, just not holding on and not swallowing what you're doing, but letting it ripple out. Very nice. Okay, so yeah, let's see if you remember this. We did it 100 years ago. So you can let your legs go. Try not to make a movement where the whole side of you, let's do this side, you know, where you're kind of moving upper like this. You see, try not to do what in sacred yoga text is called sea cucumber motion. You see all of one piece. Try to let your legs be one thing, so you have a counter spiral, then your arm, and then let yourself come up. And then fall around and come up. And don't worry about it. Yeah, that's it. That's much better, much better. So Sini, you're not holding through your core in a way. You are, but it's not like everything moves together. That's it. So there go you. That's it. I think for the Netherlands, it's hard to come up because it's such low-lying country. It's very low-lying countryside. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and be a bit more disorganized and a bit more noisy. Yeah. So you come up, look around, and then, yeah, so you're really rolling through the back, the shoulder blades, the elbows. Yeah. You don't need your stomach muscles. That's it. Come much higher up to sitting, Henriette. Yeah. Don't do a sit-up. Roll through. You're there. It's just you're cutting off the end, I think. Just play. Don't worry about it. Yeah. That's great. And making sound. Yes, making sound.
It's a bit violent.
Does it feel violent?
Yeah.
You know, yeah, it's where you drop. You see, if you just fall, but it doesn't need to be that, because look, you can slide and roll, and then as you come around, you have your elbows and hands. Yeah, it's a bit of a judo yoga moment. That's better. That's better. Good. Do it another 100 times. Just a few more times. Yeah. Better, Sini. Yeah. Now change hands. Stay there. Change hands. Now slide that hand. Yeah. And come up. And then slide that hand. Yeah. Great, 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 great. Very good. Very good. A fly graveyard. Yeah. Yeah, very good. Okay, so we're just coming up. So let's just take ourselves onto our hands and knees. And just this other thing that we've done so many times. Just turn your toes under and just let your bum go up. So it's a soft dog pose, but we'll slow down so that as we go up, we can feel that we're rooting through the hands and the upper arm is resting into the forearm and the forearm into the wrists. And we're way up on our toes, way over the big toe, tail going up, letting the head hang. And then come down. Yeah, and just stay there for a moment and just feel. And then again, toes and hands and tail. And lengthening up, lengthening up. So in the beginning, if you don't rush to put the heels on the floor or even to totally straighten the legs, you will begin to educate your hamstrings into length. If you rush into all of that, you actually shorten it at a very deep level because the muscles, you know, these little receptors in the tendons that are warning the muscle about stretch, they shorten if you bounce into your shortness. Yeah, that's it. Nice, nice, Henriette. So go up onto bigger hands, big tail going up, sit bones widening, back of the knees beginning to look at the sky. Stay on your big toe. That's even better, Henriette. Stay on your big toe. Keep going up. Keep going up. There's a feeling that you're going and then you start to get tired. So just let yourself sail down like a feather and you come all the way back down. We're going to do it again. And then the toes and the hands are rooting. The forehead is heavy and up you go. And you stay over the big toe. Stay on the hands. Notice where the weight goes. So the body keeps opening into its roots. Opening, opening, opening deep inside the foot. Tail going up. Let go of the idea of the picture, the straight legs, the heel on the floor. It looks wonderful. Each of you are doing it differently, but it looks good. Yeah, do it a few more times. Yeah. So the body is opening because you are resting into your hands and toes and you're going up. If you've ever been to Barcelona and you've seen the cathedral, the Sagrada Familia Cathedral by Gaudí, what's amazing is that it looks like the building is dripping from the sky. Is that okay? That's very good. So it's like you're going up, but it's more like you're dripping from your tail. Beautiful. Beautiful. And there is this continuous unfolding as you breathe, letting the big muscles get quieter as all the little connections begin to do something extraordinary, which we can't see, but we can see because the body looks less wooden. We start to feel that there is a wave. Yeah, that was beautiful. There's a wave of breath traveling through. Yeah. Very nice. Yeah, so John, it's great. It's great. Just walk back a little more. Yeah, no, it really does look great, but it feels like, it looks like you could get longer through here. It's like you have to get used to knowing how much tension you put in here, you know, to do your, whatever you do when you walk up. Do you feel the difference already? Mm-hmm. So you want to keep going that way and going up. Yes. And so there is a word, but we don't see it. It looks like you're hanging down from your tail. Yeah, that's it. That's amazing. You see. And then it starts to come into here. It's okay, don't change anything, just feel what I'm doing. Yeah, this starts to open, and this starts to lengthen through. That's it. Yeah, that's very good. Okay. And then, then we'll take a break after this one. But so often we spend a lot of time moving towards the floor, but we'll do that in a bit. What I'd like to do is that you just go up. So John, what happened right at the end was, see, you looked great, but it was as if something wasn't traveling through your shoulders. It was like that. And then something kind of traveled through, but it's like they have to realize, you know, because shoulders can close, like, or open. So they just have to realize that the tendency is to brace as you would to push something, but you're pushing, but you actually want them to open so your spine can go through. But when I touched you, it happened. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's something to play with. So we're going to go up, we're going to go up, 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 up. And then we're going to take one leg away and let it go up. Don't worry about how vertical, just let it go up and have fun. And then you can turn it. You can turn it so your spine kind of makes a rotation way at the top of the spine. Stay up on your toes. Don't leave your big toe. And then change sides. Go straight up, open the back of the knee, and then start to turn it, but don't swivel off the big toe that you're standing on. Keep opening, keep opening. Excellent, excellent. Yeah, and the flying leg is, it's like it's a proboscis of a butterfly. It's going and it's going into a flower right there. You're going that way. Okay. That way. Yeah. Reach with the foot, Sini, reach. Yeah, so there's a reaching, which is more than a shaping. Yes. Yes, reaching. Beautiful. Up, up, up.
Okay.
Yeah. That is good. Ooh. Great. Great. And then just rest down into child pose. So always look to see when you're resting. This also applies to when you're in bed, you know. Am I really letting, you know, I'm in bed, and am I really letting my head rest on the pillow fully? So now when you're resting, for example, if you're resting in child pose, you want to see whether you are fully releasing into the base of the pose. And you can put some support behind the knees or under the ankles. I like to put something like this under my forehead. So really checking that you're letting go to the ground. And it's a very subtle shift from nearness and being with a sense of your own body's weight and being right here, participating in the moment, right here, or it's little shift, and suddenly it's visual, and then it's ideal, and then you're not participating, you're performing. It's just this small shift, It's like with the beloved, it's not so much about being looked at the whole time by the beloved, but that you are just with your beloved. It's a shift, but we're so visual and verbal, we don't realize when we've kind of just slipped over, and then it's a YouTube, and it's exhausting. It's exhausting. Whereas participation is a completely different thing, and our embodiment is made for participation. It's so refined how we dance together. Okay, so from child pose, from being down, we're just going to slowly start to walk arms forward one at a time. And there is this moment where you feel your bum coming up. Hang out, as long as the knees don't hurt, put something soft under your kneecaps if they do. But just hang out every now and then as your bum is going up, and just really notice that the sit bones can point upwards. You don't need to arch your back. It's just letting it. It's a letting of the spine hang off the pelvis. So the sit bones belong to the two pelvic bones, the side ones, the innominate bones. So the more they tilt up, the more your iliac crest, the upper butterfly wing of your pelvis, tilts down. And as you fold into this without, activating your lumbars, just letting them hang, the more your sacrum becomes free to be its own tail. So it's not all cemented into one big pelvic blob. They're beautifully bound together, but they move in relation to each other. Every time we breathe, the sacrum moves inside the pelvis. Yeah, very beautiful. And then the spine hangs off, and then we begin to discover. So Sini, you could have elbows on the ground or elbows off. Try both, yeah. We begin to discover the sense of the spine hanging off. Lumbar vertebra by lumbar vertebra by thoracic vertebra up into the cervicals. Yeah. Wonderful. Now, tuck your toes under and don't change very much. Just stay there, but feel the bend of the toe and this delicious dawning of a gentle push from your toes. Nothing major, but it's like, oh, there's contact. Oh, there's more contact. Oh, it's nudging. It's like a little sheep nudging at its mommy. Yeah. And so the action of the toes as you flex the feet starts to add more possibility for the sit bones to be up and for the pelvic floor to be in your realm of awareness. So activation of the toes and awakening in the underneath of the foot, in the ventral surface of the foot, is going to create a response in the pelvic floor. First of all, it begins with awareness. Oh, there's a whole hammock of tissue from sit bone to sit bone. Oh, my genitals, my anus, all that stuff. And you just let it, well, you befriend it more than anything. So I don't need to give you a direction, but when we fold as you're doing, the sit bones move away from each other, which is very helpful. And many of us have lost this. Yeah, very good. So just coming back slowly. If you can't come back, you need to reach for your phone and dial emergency. And back, back. Yeah. So have a look. I'm going to do just a little review because we haven't been here in quite a while. But so So we were lying on our fronts and we were releasing the spine to drop off. But what I'd like to do now is let your arms kind of be like this, for example. And I'll show you what we're not going to do. So what we're not going to do is this, a sit up like that. You see, my chin is in and you can hear the change in my breath. You know, sit-ups are great, but that's not what we're going to do right now. Watch me. What we are going to do, instead of shortening the front to come up, we're going to do the opposite. This is how St. John of the Cross, who said that the only way to dive into contemplation and meditation was to go the negative way, to go in the opposite direction in which you think you are going. So instead of crunching, watch, we're going to lengthen and come up. So I'm going to lengthen and come up. You see, my voice doesn't change at all. And I'm not tucking in. I'm just really long and I come up. And look how, and it's as if if this image works for you, it's as if you are wanting to be kissed. It's like that. Or if that doesn't work for you, you are lying in the rain and you lift your face towards the rain or the snow or the leaves that are falling down on your face and your chest. Okay, so it's not a closing, it's an opening. And we have very sophisticated structures on the front of the throat, and that's it, that looks good. And on the chest, which help us. Yes, it was great, just do less. Come back now. And then lift your arms and stay there. And have a chuckle, because it's hilarious. That's it. That's a very Christ-like shape.
Like shoulder blades to push up.
You are good. So make your arms go that way, but without hurting. No, more headwards. Yeah, and not more than that. And then a little. Now that becomes a crunch. Let's see if you can stay here now. Up you go, and stay there. Yeah, bend your legs. It's more helpful. Yeah, and then you don't need to go higher. Your arms are going too high. Just rest for a moment. Okay, ready. And now get long. Look this way. This way. Yes, here comes the kiss. And go ha. Yeah, ha. Don't do sit-ups. Don't do sit-ups. Jane Fonda's going to come. Yeah. Brilliant. It's brilliant. And rest. Luke, there's someone trying to get in. Great. Do it a couple more times. Don't make it a sit-up exercise. Release. That's it. And stay open here. Yeah. That's very good. Very good. Look at the sky. Let the sky look at you. Beautiful. Don't make it too flexy. And don't worry about it. Don't worry about getting right or wrong. Yes. And release. And roll back onto your side and come onto your front. And we'll just go back to where we were. Back into curl the toes under. And just let the spine drop off. Tail up, toes, and just let yourself drop off from your sit bones. Is it a problem? So, Sini, when you're ready, also have elbows on the floor and just play with both. And John, try not to block at the shoulders so something can flow through. Yeah. And Henriette, if an arm hurts, you can tuck it under. Yeah. And now we're going to let the head, so we're resting on the forehead and the neck is very bent. It's bending and we're just letting it. It's like we're letting our jaw and our lips and our teeth hang towards the floor. And then we're just going to let the head turn to one side. And just counting to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Count. Go ahead. 6, 7, 8,
And then letting the head roll to the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And come back to the middle.
And come up. Yeah, just have a moment, kneeling or sitting, whatever you need. How are you doing? Right?
I have a lot of pain here.
In the shoulder,
Well, kind of breast, shoulder here.
on that side. Maybe we can look at that together. Yeah. Yeah. I'll come around and see what you're doing. But it sounds like that's something we should. We said we would, right? Maybe we'll find it time. So have a look. What I'd like you to explore now, and be gentle and laugh a little as you try and fail. And what I'd like you to do is just this. Have a look. You're going to let your legs go up. And then you're going to let the balls of your toes touch. That will just help you know where you are. Arms wide, and you're just going to let the legs go over to one side. Of course, you're going to help yourself a bit with your arms. And you can hear that I'm talking the whole time. So you can talk to yourself the whole time. It should not lead to grunting or farting. I mean, it can do, and nothing terrible will happen. But try to just talk or count or recite your favorite poem as you're playing. So we're not doing a sit-up or tummy strengthening. Yeah, great. Lengthen through the legs. Keep the balls of the toes. John, that looks good with the legs bent. Yeah. Yeah. Breathe. When you get to the floor, let go completely. Breathe. When you get to the floor, let go completely. Have a rest. And coming back. Rest, 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 and then come back and rest in the middle then. Yeah. And put the feet on the floor and just have a rest. Yeah. Breath. Breath. Ground. Easy. Easy. So have a look. We're going to do this almost the same thing. Almost the same thing. Look at what I'm doing. Go. So let's say your legs have gone all the way out to this side. You're going to take your opposite hand and hook your belly. Do you see so what I'm doing is my opposite hand's coming around and I'm really scooping all the belly, all the sausages in there and all the tofu and all of the risotto. So really scoop the belly like that. So you're going to scoop the belly and then you're going to come up to the middle. Then you're going to swap hands, scoop the belly as you go down. So your belly is going in the opposite direction of your legs. And try to have a really big hand. Take your time. So don't try and figure it out with your head. It's a very profound movement. Yeah, that looks good. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, that looks good. So you want to, yeah, so feel this. You feel that. That is so good for your back. then whether you do the whole movement or not is not so important. Wait, let me see. Let's scoop. Yeah, really watch my hands. Wait. See, you can get in there. I know I'm in your space, but that's it. Really, yeah, really, and then pull this way as you go that way. Yes. Yeah, slow down, have a rest so that you don't, yeah. So as the legs are going that way, you're scooping all of this stuff the other way. Yeah, and if you're out to the side, you're grabbing the colon and all the fermenting organs which are in a bag in a way. And then you go this way. See? Oh, yeah. And then that, yeah. Have a break, have a rest, have a rest. Breath. Breath. Wait. Yeah. So it's these less shapy movements that are more splodgy and watery and mucky. They're great to show you that you can't look at it while you're doing it. You have to get in there and start to marvel at oh, I didn't know there was a big shopping bag that I can pull one way while my trolley goes the other way. Yeah. So important. So important. Okay, we're going to do it just with the legs bent like this. Much softer movement. We're just like this. My legs are going to fall that way, and I'm going to take my belly the other way. And don't rush to the end of the movement. Explore, like, where is my belly? If I go too far down, it's bony. That's the iliac crest. If I go too up, that's my ribs. So in between. Yeah, and way over to the side. So I'm really collecting the colon. Yeah. On your right side, you have the rising colon. When the food has finished traveling through the small intestine, then it goes into the colonic space and it starts to rise. So you've kind of hooked that. And even if you don't go all the way to the floor, you're letting legs and pelvis go one way and belly structure the other way. And then come back. I didn't go all the way to the floor. Then change sides. Now on the left, you have the descending colon as it goes towards the sigmoid, which is the tiny bendy bit at the end that then reaches your anus. So now we've got the legs. So I'm on the left side. I've got my legs falling left, but I'm slowly easing everything in there to the right, to the right, to the right, to the right. Wonderful. Come back. Come back and come around. Take your time, but come round onto your hands and knees. And we'll let ourselves just curl your toes under and come down and come down and come down and come through. Toes, forehead, knees, spine dropping through. And just see where you really want to be. Not too vertical with the upper legs, but not too leaning back. Wobble the head if that's helpful. You can be palms down or thumbs up, doesn't matter. The more you can feel that you're dropping into your elbows without bracing at the shoulders, the better. Okay, so we're going to go up from here. So you're on your elbows. You're on your elbows. You drop your elbows into the ground. And you start to go up at the toes, up at the toes, up at the toes. The forehead or parts of the face start to come off the ground as you make your way up through the shoulders. Stay up on the big toe.
Yeah, I can't do that. The chest hurts.
Yeah, so gently on that one. That's a very, very strong pose. Yeah. Oh, that was good. Is that painful? Gently, yeah, don't strain it. Great, you're really on your toes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So we're just going to bring one hand, 1 foot through so that we're in this lunge pose, which we've looked at before. And this is a great opportunity just to get to know this ankle area. So just put your hand onto the stirrup of the ankle, let's say. And as you rest into it a bit, just let your leg move forward and back. So in fact, your hands will be where these 2 knobbles are. So you'll feel that your hand is moving back and forward while your foot stays where it is. Yeah, and just enjoy being oily. Yeah, being oily. Okay, so eventually you feel that you're rooted, elbow to the knee. Yeah, lots of room now. As you're rooting over that front heel, you let your back leg drop away. So if you need to inch it back a bit, or you want to go forward a tiny bit with the front knee. And as you get long from knee to knee, you also get long up through the spine. So your fingers can be touching your breastbone and the head comes up. Find your way into length. Don't push into a shape. Rooting into the pose, into the base of the pose. My spine, my body lengthens and opens on the wave of the breath. So I need to be rooting, I need to be lengthening. The breath is teaching me so many things. I can free my neck. Great. And come on down, and we'll go on to the other side. Yeah. So always coming back to what am I doing with my weight on the ground, with this gravity thing that I do as a human being all day long? So here it's about my foot, my knee, my hand, this ankle, extra tension in the foot. Yeah, moving through, letting that foot really become a big part of what's going on in my brain, in my maps, in my body moving, this rooting thing here, which I'm calling my foot. And then I start to get long from knee to knee. And I can open out a bit more if that's helpful. And then not only do I get long from knee to knee, but I get long from the base to the top of the mountain. So up to the head. Just letting that open out, open out, open out. Through the sense of weight, through the containment and the breath, I'm always being surprised by what I'm discovering, because I'm in the river. I'm not standing on the shore watching it and measuring it and wondering whether it's curving properly to the left or the right. I'm in the river, noticing how things connect and articulate, flow together. Okay, so we go back to the first foot. Rooting, widening from knee to knee, really getting over that foot. Yeah, so there are many variations to the lunges that go forward or back into the splits, but in all the middle ones, you don't want your heel to be uprooting or coming off the ground. So make sure that you're really over that heel. That's it. So this time, as we get longer, we're going to take the hand on the floor away from the floor, and we're going to open it up. And as we open up, we're going to let the chest, the ribs, the throat follow. And we can let the other arm open up. So rooting and lifting. Rooting and lift up through the fingers and come down. Wonderful, wonderful. Rest. How are you doing? Good? Strong, isn't it?
It's good.
It's good for winter. Good winter preparation. It's like a good pumpkin soup.
Oh, we had one today.
Did you?
Oh,
Oh.
Anella made it. It's just something very, beautiful.
It's the time. So the foot, really rooting through the foot. So coming to the weight, and the thing about weight is it doesn't make rooting a moral thing. Oh, like you're a bad rooter and I'm a good rooter, or you're grounded and I'm not. All of that. It's just that weight makes rooting about getting in the river and letting the river flow you down the valley. So you're not watching and shaping only. Watching and shaping is good too, but we do too much of it. So there we are. And then the arm starts to come up. Make sure you feel safe on the kneecaps. And you're coming up through from the toes and up through the armpits. So your arm, watch me, is an extension of the deep flexor of the leg, the very deep flexor, the psoas, which comes up the spine, becomes lung, becomes arm, becomes vision pouring out of your fingertips. That's what's opening you up. Beautiful. Breathe and let the breath and the ground and being in the river be you that is moving, and you come down. Hooray! Hooray, hooray, hooray. Let's just rest. Let's get very wide-kneed and rest. So you rest the belly through. Yeah. Resting. So come back to the weight. If it hurts your groins way out on the bony sides, then don't be too wide. But be with the weight. Be with the weight. Be with the weight. Be deeply folded over your legs. Be deeply dropping to the ground at elbow and forehead. Breath, ground, resting into something. resting into something. It's like we allow other aspects of our embodiment to change the more usual ones, vision and language and symbol, the sense of weight, you know, as I look at you and I talk to you, I'm in my weight. I'm not flying at you with my opinion or whatever it might be. So letting the other aspects of our sensoriality, which get kind of sidelined by vision and language and verb and noun and symbol, and eventually idea and ideal. Just the breath, just the weight. I'm just folded forward. It's not even called child pose. It's called Hampa Dinka Blinka Linka Asana. Just folded over my organs or my back, shining at the sky, or an eagle picking me up from the skin of my back, or the ground softening into a puddle as I fall into it. Okay. Yeah, so come up onto your hands and knees. So go gently and don't, knees like elbows and shoulders, you don't ever want to go against them. If they're uncomfortable, don't keep going. So we're just going to go back. Watch me for a minute. I'm supporting, and then I'm just going to go over. So I'm not going to go over like an idea. I'm going to go over like I'm pouring the mashed potatoes that way. Do you see? I'm pouring through. I'm pouring, I'm supporting, I'm going through my knees, I'm going through my groins. That's beautiful, Henriette. And I end up on the side. Yeah. Pouring custard. Yeah. Great, great. All the way through. And then I'm just going to lean forward into it a little bit. I could even go down to my elbows a bit, just so I lean into the groins. So John, don't force anything. And then I come back, come back. And then I'm going to, of course, I could pick myself up, but I'm going to pour myself through. I'm going to be much more heavy. I'm going to use my hands. It's more like an orangutan kind of thing. Nice, very nice. So I'm making a very deep side to side movement. The pelvis becomes like a parallelogram. I shift over, I move this very deeply in the knees. The knees can accommodate a little bit of rotation. And I go over to the other side. That was very different, yeah. And then when you're in there, it's like you're letting yourself fold in there, but you're letting yourself come forward, and you don't need to bring the head down. Just come forward like that. And then we did this the other way with the legs, kind of, right? So now I'm not going to sit myself up. I'm going to sludge myself over. I'm going to sludge. Yeah, I'm going to use my hands to kind of sludge back. It doesn't matter. That's very nice. If you got asymmetrical, it doesn't matter. Very nice. Yeah, and then when you're happy with that, just kind of quickly give yourself a little bit of something to sit on. Just to close. And then you're going to pull your sit bones back. So I pulled this buttock back and wide, and this buttock back and wide. For meditation, that can be very important. If you sit with your buttocks tight, you will be hidden inside there. There will be a flexion, and then you struggle, and then your knees hurt, and so wide and yeah. Then we're going to bring one leg up and wide, and the other one up and wide. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's a shapey thing, so it's easy to get into the idea of the shape, but we're just closing the class, so don't worry about the shape. Put your feet together. Your knees may be higher or lower. This has nothing to do with sanctity. It's got to do with shape of pelvis and femur. Yeah. So wherever they are, if it's is it painful? Is it okay? So just let them drop. Now watch. Good. Take hold of the ankles. And we're going to do like this. We're not going to push the legs down. We're going to gently bring the feet in, but watch my spine. As I bring my feet in, I go up, I go up, I go up. That's it. And you will be surprised. That's it. You will notice that your knees start to drop. Something starts to change. Whereas if you let go, they come up again, and you're in the I'm at my computer mode. So we bring the legs in and we lift ourselves up. Close your eyes and have fun. You may feel the very tiny adductors on the front here pulling. Don't worry about it. Just let your legs drop open. And keep coming up. Keep coming up. Letting them drop. Keep coming up. Beautiful. Beautiful. Don't evaluate. Don't measure. Don't measure. Just swim in the river. And get still and quiet. Just get quiet if it's not too uncomfortable. Otherwise, you can lie down. Just get quiet. Head is free. Shoulders are dropping. Knees are dropping. I can see knees dropping with every breath. This look of pure joy at the complete wonderful waste of time that moving is in the most gorgeous way. Letting time and space just flow down the river. Breath, that's it. How do I come up? If you were really struggling, next time you practice it, just may mean that the seat should be higher, the seat on which you're sitting. Okay, and then you can just let go and just roll back. Your legs and pelvis may judder and vibrate. It's wonderful, just let them. Breath. Wait. Breath. Okay, so thank you, everyone. Thank you, all of you at the class. Lovely seeing you. I always come and have a tiny peek. See who's there. Bye. See you all next week. Bye, guys.